Told him to meet me in town at the garage, and then we decided we're gonna have to move all these cars from town out to the ranch when it dried up, and we shifted gears a little bit and brought the trucks on into the ranch, and it worked out. But these transporters, man, you've never had fun till you've jacked with transporters. You didn't roll the window down, and you shut the door, and now it's my fault.
Yeah.
This is why we don't want to help transporters. This is why we can't touch cars, because y'all want to blame it on us. If you've noticed, Trump is proposing to make all these guys be able to speak English or they lose their CDLs. They can drive pretty good. Their communication skills are still to be improved.
It's empty gas. The guy, he put a gas and moved the car. I don't know.
Where are you from?
Orlando.
No, I mean, where's the accent?
The accent, the West Palm.
West Palm.
West Palm Beach.
Are you? No, but your accent. Where? I mean, what country are you from?
My country?
Yeah.
I'm from Cuba.
You don't look Cuban.
Yeah. What do I look?
You look Irish.
No.
But you sound Cuban.
No, Arab. No.
All y'all have is like 62 Bel Airs in Cuba. I think you could get this one open. So you're not a real Cuban.
No.
All right, get out of here. I've been doing this for 30 years. Transport is always a problem. Things get damaged in transport, and someone is always wanting to blame the other one. I don't like it when they do this, because at this point, we're assuming liability for any transport damage. I just tell them to leave them alone, let the guys do their job that we're paying them to do. When you're using transporters, don't help them. We had one the other day. The guy screwed up on it, he blamed it on us. We actually had a Copo Camaro that a guy bought, he picked up out here, and his transporter screwed it up, but he asked my guy to help him. My shop manager, Ken, literally got run over by this Copo Camaro, and they tried to blame it on us. So they dropped off the haul. Let's go check them out. This one's got like 40 miles, and it's Hugger Orange, which is really good. So it's a collector, you know? It'll never get driven. Same with this GTO. This is the end of the GTOs. Not that it's anywhere in the stratosphere in quality in my book or desirability of a 67 GTO or even the 70s GTO. What? I thought this son-bitch had 2,900 miles. Some-bitch got 29,000 miles. It's always something. This Chevelle, the paint job is an A. It has an LS3 in it. I actually never popped the hood on it. Engine compartment's super clean. Willwoods, fast. The XR intake, all the componentry's fresh. This is a good build. I'm gonna take this car and put SF stripes. But the custom console, the right wheel, this is a real rig, man. This is a great resto mod. This pace car, I think, has got 20,000 miles on it or something. You know, everybody buys these pace cars and they never drive them because they think it's gonna be worth a fortune down the road. That's why there's so many Corvette pace cars out there, because everyone buys them to be collectors. But there's too many of them to be collectors. So these Defenders, these are diesels, lifted. I bought them both. I think I'm just gonna sell them on Bring a Trailer. I'm trying some no reserve stuff on Bring a Trailer, and I have a feeling these things will do just fine. But God, I remember when these things were 100 grand a piece. So this Bronco was the anniversary edition. Pretty happy with this one. Super Duty. I've never had a good one of these. I've had some bad ones. This is a good one. 455 Super Duty. Red. I wish it was a manual, but it's an automatic. For some reason, I'm queer for these cars. So I'm not gonna ask you this week which glasses you like most, because I like these and I don't care if you like them. But I do wanna know which one out of all these cars you've seen today out here at GMTV Garage is your favorite and why. Write it, comments. I love the Indy Pace car because it's purple with gay yellow wheels. And I had a gay uncle, and he would have liked it. How do I come up with this ad-lib stuff so quick? Simple. I had a gay uncle. No, I had a gay uncle. His name was Uncle Leland. It was my grandmother's brother. He lived with his parents his entire life. He drove a 280ZX, and he died. And we didn't know why gay Uncle Leland died, but he died right around the time people were dying of AIDS. So now that I'm older, I'm gonna bet Uncle Leland died of AIDS. But he would have loved that purple Corvette with those yellow wheels. So little man got his driver's license this morning. You know he was thinking I got him a car.
I knew deep down we wouldn't come out to the ranch for no reason.
And of course I got him a car, because I'm the dad and that's what I gotta do. We've got all these cars coming in and I scrambled it in the middle of them. I wanna surprise him and keep him wondering, why do you think I bought this? What drew me to it? Because this isn't really my style. So what's special about it?
It looks like a goofy truck.
It's got hips. Like Kim Kardashian, what made her famous?
Her butt.
Her big ass, right? What's that have? Hips. That's called a step side. And that was a big deal. So this is a lowered step side in incredible condition. Why do you think I bought that stupid Bug?
It's so stupid, it's special.
It's not my style, but it's in really good shape. We need to, wipe it down. It's been a long journey. Good ones are bringing 10, 15, 20, 30 grand, which is crazy, but it's just not my bag. But I don't care if it's my bag, because what are we doing this for?
The money.
The money.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not being greedy. It's how much was lunch a minute ago?
Just $50.
Yep. And how did I make the money to pay for lunch?
Off of this.
Stupid Bugs. Will you go help him?
Oh yeah, you got your driver's license, dog.
Fix to surprise my kiddo and give him this truck for his 16th birthday. You like that Toyota? How much?
A lot.
Well, happy birthday. I don't even get a hug. I saw the grin. I felt like you might have thought that was yours.
What?
I could see the grin. You smiling in that car from 50 yards away. Your old teeth are shining. My dad surprised me with an 88 K5 Blazer. He never had to take it away from me, but I did what he said. And I hope you do the same, because I don't want to take it away from you. So be smart. Congratulations. Speaking of, we sell all of our cars at Mannheim. Sell that, bitch, let's go. There's still some weird cars that are better outside the auction lanes. And I tried something with Rollins the other day where we took 6 cars and we stacked them on a public site called Bring a Trailer. All of the auctions end simultaneously. Right after the radio show ends, I'm going to do a Bring a Trailer auction under Gimme the VIN, or GMTV. We'll have 5 to 10 to 12 specialty units that we're going to sell. You don't have to be a dealer to get on. I enjoy transacting with some of you guys, especially on the weird stuff, like roadsters, like Ralph's Mouth 32 Ford. Those typically don't sell through Mannheim auctions. We ran the 3rd oldest Corvette in the world on Bring a Trailer 2 weeks ago, and it brought $410,000.
So this car is unbelievable. I mean, it's the 3rd Corvette, right? Ever sold to the public.
Right. That was the only bat auction I've done with a reserve, and I'm glad I did, because we sold it for $450,000 on the phone after the auction ended. However, that guy contacted us a couple of weeks before. He didn't want to work an auction. So he sat back and waited for the auction to be over before he came in to buy it. It's interesting how things like that work. I had the 2nd largest loss of my car career on a car that I sold at Barrett last week. I think it's a 2002 Shelby prototype that Carroll Shelby owned himself, and he rubbed and he licked on it. He signed it, and it was the first one on the GT350, and it was the 2nd largest loss I've ever had on a car. It was mind-blowing how much money it lost.
102 and a half. Sold $100,000 Crystal.
Then I had like a 98 Lamborghini orange Murcielago with a wide body sell, and it did better than it did at
25 to get out 60 and $260,000. How about 8 and 257 to get 8 and 258 and a half. So for $257,000, Rod.
There's winners and losers, and it's a gambler's game. I mean, on these guys, I'm backing investors. I'm backing gamblers to go invest our money in cars. You need to know what you're doing. If he'd asked me and I said, don't do it. It's just a damn Mustang. It's not worth $170,000. But, oh well. So we're growing the classic and collector side of Gimme the VIN. We've been America's largest exotic and heavy car buyer for a while now. It's just tight, man. Those Germans, they know how to build their stuff. And we're getting back to growing some more buyers there. And then, of course, the normal cars. And these dealers that create their own cars work for us also. They're called wholesalers. A wholesaler is a guy that goes to dealerships, buys trade-ins, and sells them to other dealers after he does light recon. I have some wholesalers that work for Gimme the VIN. We also have 100 people in our call center and scattered all over our 32 offices around the country that are buying cars from the public over the website at GimmeTheVin.com. But I'm bringing on some more classic and collector wholesalers. It's almost like a franchise system of sorts. And if you're interested in that, send me an email, jwolf@gowolf.com. If you're an experienced wholesaler and would like to use our product, send me an email. Let's talk, because I'm always looking for good buyers.